the ball right up the middle because South Point or Shelby is very quick on the perimeter, lateral speed. But we're going to get more into that game in a little bit. But first of all, let's give some phone numbers. Be sure to give us a call tonight if you have any questions or if you've got any comments. Let us know what game you're going to, what you expect to see at your game. You can call us if you're in Cleveland County, 704-482-1390. In Gaston County, 704-435-3297. And in Lincoln County, 704-735-8071. So give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear your point of view and anything else you can tell us. Let's go over the KTC broadcasting schedule tonight. Terry, give us the games. These are going to be the video games. Some are video and radio.
They are, and on the broadcasting schedule tonight, on the video, Gaston County Game of the Week, Kings Mountain 2-0 at Forest View 2-0. Derek Smith and Daniel Howe will be there to do that. The Lincoln County Game of the Week is on KTC and WLON 1050 AM. North Lincoln's at East Lincoln, David Keever and Rick Mitchell. In the Gaston County, South Point at Shelby. It's on KTC and OHS 1390 AM. Announcers Brent Pasco and Jeff Jones. And Freedom at Burns with announcer Calvin Hastings and Dan Greer. And Crest, they're open this week.
They got a week off. As a football fan, I do not like open dates, but as I know as a coach and players, they do need some time from time to time to recharge and heal up and get ready for the next game.
Well, those are the things that we talked to, and we spoke to Coach Parker from Maiden last week, and he was very great that this had come around for them. He says, we're tired. We've went through the hot season so far, and he says, we got some kids that are banged up. He was glad the open week come for them this week, too. You know, now Crest, I don't know. It depends on what kind of a mode you are in right now. Crest is having no trouble with their opponents.
Right.
Would you like a week off now, or would you rather it come later in the week? I mean, later in the season.
I spoke with Mark Barnes a little bit earlier this week, and they've got a couple kids that they're hoping to heal up a little more. Not that it was a major concern. They are playing drawn next week, so they're just. He said they go back to football 101 on the off weeks. Work on the fundamentals, ball possession. Which way do you step when the ball's snapped? Basic stuff, tackling, blocking, things like that they just need to continue to pound into the kids so it becomes instinctual. And on radio tonight, you can listen to the West Lincoln at Cherryville game. It's on WCSL 1590 AM, and you can also hear the audio on ktcbroadcasting.com. On WHS, also on KTC, as Terry mentioned, South Point travels over to Shelby with Brent Pasco and Jeff Jones, and that's WOHS 1390 AM. And on WLON 1050 AM, North Lincoln travels to East Lincoln, and David Keever and Rick Mitchum will have all that action.
That's East Lincoln at North Lincoln.
Did I get it wrong again?
Yeah, it's East Lincoln at North Lincoln.
Okay, East Lincoln at North Lincoln. I have dyslexia of the fingers, it looks like. So I'll make a note there. And don't forget, after tonight's ball games, you can join Dennis Davis, Tom Centofanti, Lewis Carpenter, and our own Terry Reinhardt on the Ronaldo Auto Mall post-game show for all the scores, recaps, interviews, phone calls, and expert analysis about the previous night's games and some comment on next week's game.
Yeah, we try to touch base. If you ever have a question or anything or don't like what we say, give us a holler.
Yeah,
we'll take it either way.
They want to hear it. They want to hear from you because that's what it's all about, is everybody connecting and talking about stuff. Well, that's our KTC broadcasting games of the week. Let's quickly talk about the two surprises I had from last week. We'll just briefly touch on this before we take our first break. Last week's surprises, Lincoln 14, South Point 13. Was that a surprise to you?
Not really. I mean, I'm thinking that you still got South Point down here with their offensive line trying to get intact of where they need to block. The defense for them, I think, is pretty solid. I mean, I know Crest, which to me is one of the top teams in our area. But South Point's defense is still pretty strong. I just think it's the offense that's a little bit behind, because your defense is always ahead of your offense most of the time when season starts. For Lincoln, hey, I was impressed because they changed their whole aspect of how they played because they're a wide open team. They like to pass, and I don't think Coach Klinger said they threw 2 passes. I know they put in the paper they only threw 1. But they just put the ball down on the ground, run right at them. And they had Roseboro in the backfield. And like we said, when you hold the ball for 20 minutes to the other team's only 3, and you're playing a South Point, that's what South Point does to you.
Right.
And they gave it back to them this time. And they run like 39 plays to South Point's 9 the whole first half.
Wow.
And when you do that, they was up 14-0. South Point come out in the second half, made a run at it, made it 14-13, even had a chance to take the lead. Roberts makes a goal line stance towards the end of one drive that they had, and then Roseboro makes a stance on another play. So, Lincoln comes out on top 14-13. Great win for them.
Well, great win for Lincoln. They did beat South Point back in, I believe, 2010. So
that was in overtime, 43-42.
And there have been some closer games in that series as South Point is a 3A power. Lincoln comes in and gives them a good game generally most years, and this year Lincoln able to come out with the win. The other game that I had is last week's surprise. To me, East Rutherford over North Gaston. Not that they won, but that they won 29-7. East Rutherford this year might have some talent that could contend with Shelby for the 2A bid out of the South Mountain Atlantic Conference.
East Rutherford, I think, is a little bit better than what people give them credit for.
Right.
Well, when they made that trip up to Asheville-Irwin,
right,
they led 17-16 in the second quarter, and they end up getting beat 42-24. But you're playing Asheville-Irwin,
right?
And it was very impressive for me to see them leading in the second quarter, and that kind of got my attention because I'm like, maybe this squad, and we know how East Rutherford is. One year they'll be up, and next year they're down. This might be the year that they're up. The surprising on this is 29-7. Not for me. I think they're a little bit better, but I don't know whether they can play with Shelby.
Well, East Rutherford, a 2A team against North Gaston, a 3A team, Big South Conference team. I just kind of shocked me the score, not the win again, but that they beat North Gaston 29-7.
North Gaston's one of these teams that we look at and we think of your South Point, your Forest View, your Ashbrook, and then we throw in North Gaston.
Right.
In behind all of those. And North Gaston, I think, is to me, a franchise has turned. I think they're going to get better. But East Rutherford, I think, is just a little bit better squad against them last week.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break here on the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show, and when we get back, we'll start breaking down our games of the week. Stick around.
Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price with names like the Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General Insurance, and Travelers. Drop by their office at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986. It's the 90th Annual Cleveland County Fair, September 25th through October 5th. Make plans now to be there. On the Midway, it's pig racing, Leon Jacobs, Act Monsters Chainsaw Demonstration, the Tumbleweed Crossing Wild West Show, and on the grandstand, it's the Demolition Derby and much more. So join us for the fun, the 90th Annual Cleveland County Fair, September 25th through October 5th. The Cleveland County Fair at the Cleveland County Fairgrounds. Take it from Phil and Kay. A Clayton home features big open layouts with spacious dining areas for big family dinners, plus beautiful upgraded kitchens and appliances, and a comfortable living room and outdoor living areas. So hurry in today. Clayton Homes, Highway 74 Bypass East in Shelby.
Hey, let's get it done, boys.
Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price with names like the Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General Insurance, and Travelers. Drop by their office at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986.
Lon Helton inviting you to join me as we count down the week's top 30 with Kenny Chesney, who takes us backstage at his only concert of 2014, the Floribama Jamma.
I'd rather play in that environment than just about anywhere in the world, because you can smell the ocean, you can smell spilt beer and fried food. It's everything I love.
That's Kenny Chesney this week on Country Countdown USA.
Country Countdown USA with Lon Helton, Friday afternoons 1 to 4, right here at Big O Country and online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
The Germans are coming. The Germans are coming. The German Volkswagens, that is, at the Cleveland County Fairgrounds. Gates open at noon Friday and 8 a.m. Saturday. Admission is $10 and show car entry fee is $5. Vendor sponsor $10. Plus camping is available. This special benefit Volkswagen show will benefit the Shriners. For more information, contact Keith Clark at 704-473-4582 or go to eastcoastgermaninvasion.com.
This weekend, September 5th and 6th at the Cleveland County Fairgrounds.
Ladies and gentlemen, the mayor of Whatever USA.
Thanks for coming. This summer, Bud Light is creating a town called Whatever USA. The most marvelous, spectacular town for people who are up for whatever. And you could come. I will now take a few questions. Yes, you in front.
Is Whatever USA a real town?
It's as real as this voice-enhancing software. Next question.
How do I get to whatever?
Are you up for whatever?
Yes.
Perfect. Then audition at upforwhatever.com or your local participating Bud Light retailer. You. What kind of people is Bud Light looking for? We want yes people. Let's do it people. And this seems slightly unorthodox, but sure, why not people? But my ride's here. Bring it on, professional voice guy.
Bud Light, the perfect beer for whatever happens. Bud Light Whatever USA video contest open to U.S. residents 21 and over. No purchase necessary. Ends August 31st, 2014. Visit upforwhatever.com for official rules, entry, prices, and details. Void where prohibited.
Bud Light, distributed by Standard Distributors in Gastonia.
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB St. Louis, Missouri.
Only at the Y, membership means more. There's a unique combination at the Cleveland County Family YMCA. It's a place where generations gather together. Seniors socialize alongside toddlers splashing and learning new skills. The Y offers everything from water activities and fitness equipment to healthy living classes for older adults. At the Y, your membership means more. Visit your local Cleveland County Family YMCA today.
And welcome back to the Witherspoon Insurance Pregame Show right here on ktcbroadcasting.com, WOHS 1390 AM, WLON Lincoln, and WCSL Cherryville.
Exactly.
We thank everyone for joining us, and don't forget to give us a call if you get a chance. Terry, let's get into the games of the week. I picked 3 this week that I felt like warranted that. 2 really apply, but maybe the third one. East Lincoln is hosting North Lincoln, is that correct?
North Lincoln is hosting.
I've got it backwards.
North Lincoln is at home.
East Lincoln travels to North Lincoln.
Yes.
Now, these are 2 Lincoln County teams. This should be a rivalry game. North Lincoln coming off wins over West Lincoln and Lincolnton. East Lincoln, Chaz Surratt, his brother, the other Surratt, and they're just slam-loaded as usual. I'm looking at this game to be a shootout or a great game. Your impression?
This game all depends on how long North Lincoln wants to keep the ball. If you turn it over in North Lincoln, you're going to get blown out. That's just my opinion. North Lincoln has kept the ball the last couple games, and I know, don't get me wrong, a couple of weeks ago I said Lincoln would win that game, and look what they did to them.
Right.
Well, here's another game, and don't get me wrong, Bias, a great coach. He's already seen this. He's already probably put that up there. Look, if you're not ready, this will happen to you, what happened to Lincoln. So I think his team is ready. And you are playing against Chaz Surratt, which can change a game real quick. This guy, I think North Lincoln will be in the game up to halftime. And then I think explosive plays will put them away in the second half. East Lincoln leads this series 9-2. They had a forfeit win last year after East Lincoln had beat them 34-7 out on the field, but he was an ineligible player that they had to take a game away. The only win for North Lincoln in this series was way back in 2007. They defeated them 34-7. Coach Matt Bean was the coach there at that time. So to me, East Lincoln should go to 3-0. If North Lincoln comes out there and they control the ball like they did against Lincoln and do not give it to them and just march up and down the field, but now East Lincoln's defense is pretty solid too, but I also said that about Lincoln, and look what happened. So I'm looking for East Lincoln to win by 14.
Well, the notes I had to put down is North Lincoln for real? We'll find out tonight.
Oh, yes.
Was that a quirky win over Lincoln with some missing players and just good timing for North Lincoln? Last week's win over West Lincoln, I think, admittedly down a little bit from last year. That was one you felt like North Lincoln probably should have won. But tonight we'll find out. We'll find out if North Lincoln is for real. If they beat East Lincoln, then some heads will be turned. But like you, I feel like if you're going to beat Chaz Surratt, you're going to have to shut him completely down, and that's near impossible.
Yeah, you've got to have him off the field, and don't get me wrong, he'll be out there on defense some, but you got to have him offensive-wise off the field, not being able to hurt you. North Lincoln last week, they went to West Lincoln. Whole first half, 0-0 score, and it was one of them things that West Lincoln had the ball twice at the 3-yard line, come away with 0 both times that they had it. Could have been up 10-0, 14-0 in the first half. They did not do that. In the second half, West Lincoln comes and scores in. North Lincoln scores, tied up, and then I think they kind of wore West Lincoln down from the, just continuous running plays, and come away with a victory there, 20-7. So I'm with you. This is a game, North Lincoln, if you want to, be county champions, this is a game you got to win if you want that. But East Lincoln, I think, overall is the better squad.
All right, well, we will find out tonight as those two teams collide. Both of them enter the game undefeated, and one will leave with a loss tonight, unless they tie forever, and then, so much for that. But all right, on to our next game of the week. This is one that I kind of flip-flop between this one and the South Point Shelby game. West Lincoln travels over to Cherryville. Both teams coming off losses to county rivals. Cherryville lost to Bessemer City last week. West Lincoln lost to North Lincoln. Both are coming off losses, but both of them trying to establish themselves this year. And Cherryville puts 50 on somebody a few weeks ago, then they lose last week to Bessemer City. So I'm not sure how good Cherryville really is.
Well, of what I have seen and what I have heard, a lot of people say this is a game for West Lincoln. This is a game West Lincoln cannot lose. And I'm just going to be honest. You're coming in this game, you're 1-1. Cherryville's got the same record. West Lincoln leads this series 20-17. It's a lot closer than a lot of people think. West Lincoln won last year 54-16. So they kind of whitewashed them last year. But this year, they come in here. Tom Saint's 3-1 against Cherryville. This is a game that West Lincoln must run the ball, because you also have a Cherryville team that has opened it up. That's a spread offense that likes to throw the ball. Even Grant Henderson was WBTV's Player of the Week this year. This past
he
week.
Deserved it. He
yes,
had
he
a
did.
Tremendous first game.
He did, but this is a game that I think the secondary from West Lincoln has got to be ready, because they're going to pass. And if West Lincoln has a little downfall, it might be in their secondary.
So we've got two teams with contrasting offenses. West Lincoln likes to pound the ball.
Oh, yes.
Between the tackles, pitch. They run that offense. Cherryville going to sling it, throw it up, try to open it wide up. So it's going to come down to the defenses, actually, as to who's going to prevail tonight.
And it's one of them things. If West Lincoln's offense can stay out there and just punish the defense all the way down, they wear them down. And then when the offense gets out there, the offensive line for Cherryville, they've got to block. You've got to give Henderson a little bit of time. And some of the film that I have seen, the blocking's not totally there. So if he has to get out, which that's what they do, it's an open offense, but he has to be able to get out and get rid of the ball. If West Lincoln gets pressure, Cherryville's in trouble.
All right. Well, West Lincoln at Cherryville tonight, both 1-1. Should be a competitive game, I feel like. Now, it could be 39-7. It could end up being that way, but based on what we've seen so far the first 2 weeks, both teams have the ability to play better. And I look for Cherryville to hopefully step up and make a statement tonight.
Well, it's one of them games I even hear people saying, will Cherryville wear West Lincoln's defense down?
Right.
And even if West Lincoln's up by 7 or 14 points going to the fourth quarter, will that defense be wore down enough that Cherylville can, with their type of offense right now, come back and pull out a victory when they should not be able to? So we'll see tonight.
All righty. Well, the third game on our games of the week, and this is the most intriguing one to me. This is the one that I really look forward to hearing how this one turns out. A young Kings Mountain team trying to establish themselves back from some couple of bad years, coming into Forest View to take on a 2-0 Forest View team. Both teams are 2-0. Forest View trying to establish themselves as the Mac Daddy of the Big South Conference now. They feel like this is a good year for them. Last year was a great year. This year they've got a quarterback that's really beginning to play well. Mo, the running back.
Oh, yeah.
This, to me, looks like it could be an awesome game.
Well, when I look at this game, I said, Kings Mountain, here you are again. You're 2-0. You're going to play Forest View. If you want to be considered as one of the elite around here, these are games that you have to win. I mean, that's just as far as I look at Forest View. 2-0. They've played 2 South Carolina teams. A lot of teams can't come back and say, I went 2-0 against South Carolina.
Right.
They can. They're piling up points. Can Kings Mountain's defense stop them? And me and you have talked before, defense is the trouble spot at Kings Mountain. Their offense is good, but can their defense stop Forest View from scoring?
Well, and that has been the problem with Kings Mountain over the last 5 to 7 years, is their defense. They've had some times where they offensively have been able to put some points on the board, but those poor kids just can't play defense, and I don't know if it's a lack of talent, a question with the coaching, or just lack of knowledge. I don't know, but if they're going to contend in the South Mountain Atlantic Conference, or at least get past the first round of the playoffs, they are going to have to develop a defense. And we know the quarterback, Jonathan Bell, is an outstanding quarterback. Yeah. Throws the ball well. Darian McLean running. He's a sophomore running back. This kid he's a good running back. And Bell's got some good receivers. Bell also is the kind of kid that'll throw for 180 and rush for 80 or 90. So when he does tuck it and goes. So Kings Mountain's got the offensive weapons. Forest View has some offensive weapons. Their quarterback, running back, both defenses are going to be the question. But this looks to me like it could be a really entertaining game.
We could go back to one of them 57, 56 games, like what Forest View had last year
with
against Nations Ford.
Yeah.
You never know. Brandon Bell, he can bring the load with himself. So,
and I called him Jonathan Bell, didn't I? And I don't know why I tagged that kid that name, but
I just
Brandon Bell.
Well,
correct me when I get it wrong, because I'm always going to call him Jonathan Bell for some reason. But yeah, Kings Mountain travels over to Forest View. Both teams 2-0, trying to establish themselves as actual contenders in their conference. And this game will go a long ways towards that.
And right now you look at the Big South. Forest View up on top, 2-0. South Point a little down right now, and a lot of people. And here's another thing. And how is it when you play like this? It's like playing the Tar Heels. Either you like them or you don't.
Yeah,
it's one of them things.
Says a Duke fan.
Yeah, it does in there. But I mean, when you look at South Point, people like them or they don't.
Right.
And they win consistently.
Right.
And that's how it goes. And the Forest View's up there right now. A lot of people are liking their 0-2, saying, hey, man, this is our year to get down. Ashbrook's in that mix, like we said, North Gaston. But here it is. Forest View right now is on the elite side.
And last year, as Logan Bradley and the Forest View Jaguars took on South Point, I would have bet money that Forest View was going to beat South Point, because they had the perfect formula to take on South Point and beat them, but South Point won that game.
They did.
And South Point's going to be one of those teams. You can't ever count them out, and tonight is a perfect example of that. I know the Shelby folks are flying high right now with this ball club they've got. They're really, really good, but they have got to be scared to death of South Point.
South Point's one of them teams that we keep talking about. Coach Lineberger, he's an offensive line coach. Last week, he even put in the paper, he says we got better. Even though we lost, our linemen got better of knowing where to be and when to block.
Well, the key with South Point, and we'll get into that game a little more after the next break, but the key with them is their linemen don't have to be 6'3", 290. They can be 5'10", 210, and be very effective with the blocking schemes and the way they do their blocking, the crab blocking and the low blocking below the knees. And we have got a caller. And hello, caller.
Hey, fellas. Hey, this is Steve Degree.
Hey, Steve DeGree, how are you today?
Over here at Shelby High School. I was sitting in my car listening to y'all's guys, and I began to think that back in the 70s, it was the Shelby South Point rivalry. It wasn't Shelby and Craig. It was the Shelby and South Point.
Right.
You measured your season by playing Shelby and South Point. And like Coach Biggerspath and Coach Gerald Allen, that's all they played for, to beat each other. And I remember my senior year, actually 40 years ago, we played South Point the third game of the season. Ain't that something?
Yeah.
And they beat us 14-3. But we made it to the playoffs, and we went down to Lamberton and beat them 16-14, and Dusty Haynes kept winning field goal.
Referee Dusty Haynes, I remember that name.
No, yes.
Well, now, Steve, do you really feel like 40 years ago has any bearing on tonight's rivalry? Those kids were a long time not born. A lot of their parents weren't born 40 years ago.
No, I was just making this statement that the old rivalry is back.
Uh-huh.
Because that was the toughest game you had to play all year.
Right.
And because both good teams had great coaches.
Are you looking for Shelby to continue this series with South Point, knowing that it's going to be a good gate for both schools and good quality competition?
I don't see why not. You need to play a tough competition to get you through the season.
And, Steve, another thing, last year's game, even though South Point won and they pulled away at the end, it was a game that Shelby played very well against them and could have come out with a victory, even though they lost 35-24.
Yeah, we was down at Lombard Stadium, anything like happened down there. But it was a very, very good, clean, hard football game with two well-coached teams.
Well, now, Steve, you're close with the Shelby High football program. What are your impressions about tonight's game? Do you feel like that Shelby will be able to throw the ball at will, or South Point, will they be able to run the ball between your tackles?
I think if Shelby can control the ball and keep South Point off the field,
right,
we got a chance. But we can't go 3 and out and 1 minute off clock. We got to run up some of that clock and go to our running game. And that'll be the difference in the game. Our offensive line is green. Most of the guys hadn't even really started a varsity football game. Just number 62 and number 74, Hopper.
Uh-huh.
And all the rest of the guys are new, up from JV. So it's going to take a time for those guys to gel. But once they get it together, Shelby's going to be hard to beat.
Well, with R.J. George back there right now, you're going to be hard to beat against anybody.
Well, I know last week, Steve, when they come out and Coach Lineberger mentioned, even though he did lose him, he was talking about just a minute ago, hey, I was impressed with our guys. Our offensive linemen are starting to know where to be now. And, every time that a coach comes out and says that, even after a loss, you start thinking, okay, South Point, it's not long before they're going to be there. And maybe you have found them on the right week 3, instead of week 7 or 8 into the season.
Well, as it goes, doesn't matter when you play South Point or Shelby, it's always going to be good.
That's true. That's true.
Well, I look for Etherton, the fullback for South Point. I feel like that's going to be their main point of attack. They're going to really try to work the tackles tonight, and I look for Shelby to throw the ball everywhere. We could have another 42-35 game. I'm excited about tonight's game.
Yeah, I usually don't get this, sir. But I'm over here already, ready to go.
I hear you, buddy.
All right. Well, I believe you'll be working in the press box some tonight, helping get scores and keeping those guys on point.
Yeah, I just volunteer to do whatever they want me to do.
Right.
I just love Shelby High. I told my family when I die, make sure they bury me in a gold and black suit.
All righty, well,
I hear you.
We'll make them honor that. And Steve DeGree, thank you so much for calling. We're going to take a quick break and come back for segment 2 here on KTCBroadcasting.com.
AM WHS in Shelby, 1590 AM WCSL, Cherryville, Gastonia, 1050 AM WLON Lincoln, and online at KTCBroadcasting.com. 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price with names like the Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General Insurance, and Travelers. Drop by their office at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986.
The Southern Women's Show is back, and it's time for some serious fun. It's going to be the best shopping ever. Watch runway fashion shows, meet healthcare experts, and find super cute accessories. Rock your hair with a new cut and style. Get a makeover from the beauty experts at Belk. Celebrate Girls' Night Out on Friday, presented by Concord Mills. It's September 11th through the 14th at the Charlotte Convention Center, sponsored by Chevrolet, Food Lion, and the Charlotte Observer. Save big by getting discount tickets at Walgreens or go to southernwomenshow.com.
When it comes time to cut the grass, you'll be more than happy to do it on your new Husqvarna zero-turn mower or tractor mower from Carolina Hardware and Garden Center in Lincoln. You'll find one that's right for your lawn and your pocketbook, and get free delivery of your new mower. And now is the time to service your old mower. Bring it on in or call for pickup and delivery. From parts to service to a brand new Husqvarna mower, they do it all at Carolina Hardware and Garden Center on the Reesville Road in Lincoln, your Husqvarna dealer in this area. Your football headquarters is the Home Place Restaurant on Highway 27 west of Lincoln. And every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, when you purchase your meal, you'll get a free tea when you mention you're headed to a football game. Any football game, middle school, high school, Pop Warner, JV. Just tell the waitress you're on your way to a football game and get a free tea. All for good for any football game on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. And don't forget the Home Place Restaurant for your holiday catering. The Home Place Restaurant, 2 miles west of Lincoln and Highway 27. Open 11 to 8 Monday through Saturday. Like them on Facebook, too.
When you need a ride, Specialized Transport has exactly what you're looking for, serving Gaston, Lincoln, Catawba, Burt, Caldwell, and Cleveland counties. Specialized Transport has your area covered. Ambulatory, wheelchair, and geriatric chair transport. Handicap transportation services and non-medical transport services are available as well. When you need a ride, call Dean Hastings at 704-735-5676. Specialized Transport will get you where you need to be. 704-735-5676.
This is Leah, your Ingalls dietitian. There are over 300 symptoms of celiac disease, ranging from digestive difficulties to anemia, joint pain, and early onset osteoporosis. Before you self-diagnose, make sure you talk to your doctor about being tested. And don't go gluten-free until you are tested, or the test will not be accurate. For more information, go to cureceliac.org.
In his third year of running the sidelines, Coach Fedora has his Tar Heels ready for battle in the ACC.
Switzer's free at the 35. He's at midfield. Switzer with the Jets, and he's done it again.
Catch every snap of Carolina football right here on the Tar Heels Sports Network.
North Carolina, Duke, Clemson, and NCAA football right here on Big O Country, WHS, WCSL, and WLON. And online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
If you find the world of prescription medications confusing and complex, know you are in good hands at Smith Drug Store in Gastonia. Their pharmacists are licensed medical professionals who have extensively studied the body and drug therapy. In fact, the person on the other side of the counter may have a master's in pharmacy or have completed a prestigious fellowship. And their top priority, taking care of you. See Smith Drug Store on Main Street in downtown Gastonia.
Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price with names like the Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General Insurance, and Travelers. Drop by their office at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986.
And we're back at the Witherspoon Insurance Pregame Show on ktcbroadcast.com. I am Sam Davis, along with my co-host, Terry Reinhardt, the Lincoln County Wonder.
Yeah, I do want to go over a few things as we come back, Steve, but I'll let you finish what you was talking about.
And who is Steve?
Steve in there. That's right.
Okay. What were we talking about? You've lost me now.
Well, you and Steve start looking alike, and I was thinking about Steve and they're putting us back on the air. That's what it was.
I don't know. I'm not even going to go there because sure as heck I'm going to say something inappropriate. So I'm staying out of that. And I have a history of saying inappropriate things. But one thing I will say is we were just briefly talking. First of all, Stephen Walker and Chuck Barbie, these are two people I've spoke with today. They're both followers and supporters of Burns High School. I want you two guys to know, if you're listening, and I feel like you might be, if you're not going to call, we're not even going to talk about Burns. So if you want to hear us talk about your team, call us in. We want to hear from you. We've got a couple other folks going to give us a call today. They said they would. We would love to talk to them. We would love to hear their point of view on the games coming up tonight.
I will say one thing. I do like your hat.
Well, thank you.
Good choice.
I got a Gmail, ktcpregame@gmail.com. I got an email this week, and it was somebody last week I did not wear a hat, and they begged me to wear a hat this week. And I don't know if that's good or bad, but I'm wearing a hat. I wore an NC State hat to honor, my Wolfpack on their humongous win over Georgia Southern, Charleston Southern, whatever they were, that little small college down there in lower South Carolina. But a win is a win is a win.
We're still in the hunt for the national championship.
Absolutely. Undefeated.
Yes.
Undefeated, NC State is. Well, let's get on back to our games, and as we wait for these calls to come in, yes, sir.
I do. I want to mention one thing. If anybody was not paying attention last week, Havelock was defeated.
Ooh, I saw that. Every time I saw it, I got confused thinking, Havelock lost?
Yes,
but
exactly.
They lost to a really good New Bern.
Yeah, that's right. That's a 4A powerhouse, and they've been to the championship in the 4AA. But now the longest winning streak in North Carolina, Greensboro Dudley, with 17 games. That is the longest winning streak in North Carolina. Southern Durham is next with 15. And then on the losing streak side, the longest streak is Northern Vance at 23, Garinger with 22, North Stokes with 21, West Iredale with 21, and Fred T. Ford with 20.
And speaking of Fred T. Ford, they're on my list today to talk about their game against Bunker Hill. They are 0-2 this year, but they lost very close losses to both Maiden and Bandy, so we could be seeing Fred T. Ford making an upswing.
Well, we mentioned this last week and the week before. When you get your quarterback back, Matt Williams is their quarterback. He got hurt in game 1 last year. He's back. He's healthy. He's playing. He's keeping them in games. Both of these games that they've come down to the end, they could have won.
Right.
They could have been 2-0 right now. They're almost in the shape as like a Bunker Hill. Bunker Hill scored 99 points and is 0-2. And it kind of makes you wonder that because their defenses gave up 107.
And how bad can you be to give up 107 points while your offense is scoring 100 points, basically? That's one of those conundrums that we'll find out as the year goes along. Let's get on into our games of tonight's area games. Asheville travels down to Ashbrook. Last year they had a good game. I believe Ashbrook pulled away a win at the end.
Ashbrook won 23-14.
And this year, though, Asheville comes in 2-0. Ashbrook 1-1 after beating Burns and losing to Crest. My notes tell me that this should be a great game between two schools loaded with athletes, but that doesn't mean that Ashbrook will win. Asheville is going to have a lot of talent. They've got the Have Jones running back that transferred from AC Reynolds. Ashbrook's supposed to be pretty stout this year.
They are, and Ashbrook leads this series 11-6. So you're playing at Ashbrook. Asheville, you've come off that mountain. This is a team that you've had trouble with, so this might be the night for Ashbrook to pull another. I'm not going to say it's a major win or an upset win because Ashbrook has the talent on the field to beat them.
Right. Hey, we've got a caller. Let's go ahead and take this call real quick. Hello, caller.
Hello there.
Who this?
This is Jonathan Trotz. Who's this?
Jonathan Trotz. My name is Sam Davis, and I'm along here with Terry Reinhardt. We want to thank you, Jonathan, for calling the show.
Yeah.
What game you going to see tonight?
I'm going over to the West Lincoln Cherryville game.
What are your impressions of that?
Well, I've heard about Cherryville's high-flying offense. I hear they spread it out, swinging around the yard pretty good.
Right.
And boy playing quarterback. West Lincoln, I've seen them play a couple times this year, and they like to slow it down and grind it out. So I think it'll be a pretty good football team between the two. Pretty good football team.
All right, you got two contrasting styles there. Terry, very knowledgeable about West Lincoln and Cherryville. So you feel like West Lincoln's got a good shot tonight?
Well, it looks like Metro City kind of slowed it down and it let Trevor have the ball a whole lot, so it was able to, keep their offense off the field. And I think that's what it'll take for West Lincoln to win the game.
Well, now, Johnny, this is Terry Reinhardt. You know me. Johnny is a fellow West Lincoln graduate.
Awesome.
Yes, he goes over and he covers West Lincoln everywhere they go. He keeps up with stats and everything for them. He does a lot of tweeting for the West Lincoln Rebels. Johnny, you come into this game, and a lot of people are looking at, well, they're going to put it on the ground. Marsh is going to give it to George and the running backs, et cetera, et cetera. But Marsh can pass the ball. That's another thing I think that has come in very handy for West Lincoln, because when you think that you can stop them, Marsh can throw the ball.
Well, yeah, Terry, in 2 games they've had, I think he had 92 yards the first game pass and about 60 in the second game pass. And in the second game, he completed 4 passes, 2 different receivers. They're used to be in the past couple of years, they kept it on the ground with the quarterback, being able to handle the ball pretty quick. They still run the same little shotgun wing tee set they've had, or pistol wing tee set they've had. But Marsh is a pretty capable quarterback and throw it around pretty good. Got some decent receivers.
On the defensive side, do you think that West Lincoln can get enough pressure against Henderson?
Well, I think the front line, maybe the defensive line might be West Lincoln's strongest suit. Now, whether they can get there in time and put the pressure on Henderson and make you move off his spot and cause him to make a quick throw or get the ball in the air sooner than he wants to, I think that'll be the difference, It'll be whether or not the defensive lineman like Stick can get there and make it happen. Watching West Lincoln's coverage, they ain't had to play a whole lot of man coverage or a whole lot of pass defense against the teams they played. They've mostly been ground-oriented. I think North Lincoln tried 1 pass, and I think Drone might have tried 2 late in the game. So, it'll be a new experience for some of those guys in the defensive backfield.
Well, is West Lincoln coming into the game tonight, Johnny? Are they healthy?
As far as I know, I think everybody's healthy. Hadn't heard any reports that they weren't.
Okay.
I went to practice the other day, and everybody seemed to be on the field and going at it. Nobody at the trainer's table, which is good. But that is a big concern for West Lincoln this year. They are pretty thin. Multiple players going multiple ways. So, that's one of the big concerns for Tom saying in this game is that, a couple people get hurt. It can change the whole outlook of their season, change the whole outlook of their offense and defense.
Absolutely. Well, Johnny, thank you so much for calling. We appreciate it. Enjoy your game tonight. We feel like it's going to be a good competitive game, a good game to watch between a air 'em out Cherryville and a grind 'em out West Lincoln. So hopefully you're going to have a great game to watch tonight.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks for calling.
Thanks, Jonathan.
All right, Jonathan Schrantz from West Lincoln calling in. We appreciate the call. Back to the Asheville-Ashbrook game briefly. Asheville rarely comes off the mountain and plays non-conference games. So it will be interesting to see how they do down here in a little thicker atmosphere against quality opponents. A lot of those teams in the mountains, and this is not a slam on them, but a lot of their non-conference games are 1A, 2A, smaller level quality teams, and now they're coming down off the mountain to play an Ashbrook team that we know has athletes. They pounded Burns 23-0 first game. They lost 31-7 to Crest last week, but we know that Ashbrook has some athletes. They've got some players. So this Asheville-Ashbrook game could be a great one also.
Oh, I believe with you, and I think that since Ashbrook is playing at home, I got Ashbrook winning by 7.
All right. Ashbrook winning by 7. Wow.
Yes.
I would have picked Asheville if I was a betting man, but I have no money, so I'm not allowed to bet. All right, North Gaston is traveling over to Lincolnton. Lincolnton coming off that huge win over South Point last week. North Gaston, what you would call an average 3A team against an on-the-rise 2A team. This is a game, God, I hate to say it, but after last week's loss for North Gaston against East Rutherford, I got a feeling Lincolnton's going to take this one fairly easily.
Well, this is a game, well, to be honest with you, I do not know whether Easter is back. That can change the whole look of the game, because if Easter's back, then you're going to have a little bit more passing, or they might still go with the big bone back and try to run it right at them. Lincoln leads this series 16-8. North Gaston did win last year 10-7 late in the game. They kicked a field goal to beat Lincoln.
Sure did. Yeah.
Sure did. And for this game, Lincoln, I think, must, and how would I put this? you got to ground them out.
Right.
And that's just me. I think you've got to have a win here.
All right. Well, we've got a caller calling in again. And hello, caller.
Sammy, what's going on, man?
Hanging out here in Cherryville. What you doing?
Oh, well, I figure since the Chargers were off tonight, we're going to try to check out another game. So me and the family, I sent Tim and Andy on to do something else. So me and the family are going to head over tonight and watch Kings Mountain and Forest View.
Well, Rob Roop, you should have a good game to watch there.
Sam, I tell you, I am excited about this one. I think we're looking at a situation here where Forest View's trying to legitimize that top 10 ranking that they're starting to see.
Right.
And I tell you what, if you're a fan of the Mountaineers right now, Sam, you've got to be excited about what's going on.
Well, Rob Roop, Rob has family on the inside over at Kings Mountain. His what is he, a nephew, Dustin?
He's actually my cousin. Dustin's my cousin. He's the AD over there.
Dustin Moorhead,
the Kings Mountain. So,
athletic director
we got
and
all
one of the
Charger
coaches.
Connections over there. So.
Right. So Rob got the inside know-how over at Kings Mountain and at Crest. But Kings Mountain, do you feel? Now, our big question here when we talked about them earlier is going to fall back on the defense. Do you feel, from what you've talked to Dustin, Dustin's a defensive line coach, and do you feel like Kings Mountain's defense is going to be competitive this year?
I tell you, Sam, the thing that I've liked so far on the film I've seen of Kings Mountain and getting to see them in the Jamboree, the thing that would excite me is the way we're seeing Kings Mountain swarm to the football this year defensively. You're seeing a lot of Kings Mountain jerseys in on the tackles, and I think that was something we hadn't seen the last few years. But let's be honest, we're talking about a football team the last couple of years that was so depleted with injuries that you were just hoping to have the 22 on the field, and it may be the same 11 just switching sides of the ball.
Right.
So I think this year, with if they can stay healthy, I love the passing game they've got now. Bell at quarterback, and you got Tico Crocker out there, McDaniel, Merchant, those guys. So you can throw the football, you can air it out, you can put points on the board. But I'm like you, the key is going to be this season will be how well this defense performs, and I think tonight is the ultimate test for this defense. How do they perform against Mo Neal and this Forest View offense?
Now, you go ahead, Terry.
Yeah, when I'm looking at this game also, I'm also thinking about which team's going to be able to run the ball. What about Kings Mountain on the running side?
That's one thing, too, that I've liked the last couple of weeks with this team against Hunter Huss and East Gaston. Very balanced attack. But they've been able to throw the football. They also have been very successful on the ground. And let's be honest, Bale, when you watch him play, is really the epitome of a dual threat quarterback. I mean, he can put it in the air. He's going to be able to run the football on you. So I think both squads are going to experience success running the ball tonight because when you look at what Kings Mountain does with their backs and the quarterback position, and then, like we said, Mo Neal, one of the best athletes around, I think both these squads can experience the success of running the football. The key guys in the football game are those three facets, offensively, defensively, and special teams. And more times than not, you win two of the three, you're going to win the football game. So I think tonight's going to be the key. Which one of these two squads can win two of those three? Because I think one of them will be played even. So I think it's going to be the key who wins the other two.
Well, this is a good chance for Kings Mountain. They're elevating the level of talent that they're playing against. Huss and East Gaston were two great games to open the season with. Work out the kinks, figure out who goes where. Now you're going to be absolutely challenged against Forest View. So I feel like we're really going to find out a lot about both those squads.
Exactly right, Sam. The thing that I took from Kings Mountain, a lot of people said in the Jamboree where you saw Polk County. You saw Polk County and you outmatched them, but at that point you needed something good to happen. You go into the season, and again, I think you overmatch Hunter Huss. Again, positive momentum for Kings Mountain. The same thing last week against East Gaston. You're climbing this hill. Now you get to that plateau. How do you perform now at that plateau where you're playing a very talented, very athletic football team? And if the Kings Mountain Mountaineers can come out of this game with a victory, guys, I think if you're Crest and Shelby, you start saying, well, I think we found team number 3 in the SMAC conference that everybody better be careful of.
Well, Kings Mountain definitely trying to challenge for that second or third spot in the conference between them and East Rutherford and Shelby and Crest. I think you got 4 there that there's 2 of them I think everybody feels like should be contending for the title, and Kings Mountain and East Rutherford may be battling for number 2 or number 3 spot.
And I tell you, Sam, right quick, just touching on that conference, how about Rutherford County? I mean, Rutherford County's played good the last 2 weeks. Give Chase a lot of credit. I know that when they traveled out to Forsyth County for their game, and I know the team was down, but you're a 2A school playing a 4A school, looking for those victories. I got to give Rutherford County last weekend experienced a big 4-0 weekend for them. And like they said, that's something in Cleveland County we expect a lot of, 4-0 weekends.
Right.
But give Rutherford County a lot of credit. I think they're playing much better football than a lot of people expected of them going into the season.
Well, another thing I want to touch on, when you speak of Kings Mountain, 4 of their next 5 are on the road.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're going to make a step up, if you can come out of this, 4-1 would be fantastic. But if you could go 5-0, it's exceptional. But if you could come out of that like 3-2, maybe. Well, how do you look at that?
Guys, I think if you get through that stretch, if Kings Mountain gets through these, like I said, a 3-2 record, and then you start looking down the road at when you're playing your East Berks and your Drones, and again, talking positive about Rutherford County, they deserve it. But again, if you're Kings Mountain at this point, those are when you expect to win those games. And I think going into the Burns game, again, another winnable games there. So I think for this Kings Mountain squad, when you look at the Forest View game, the Crest game, and the Shelby game, those are your top tier. You start pulling victories out of there, and now you're talking about home games come playoff time, not just making the playoffs. You're talking about getting some home games in the playoffs.
Very good point. Very good point.
Yes.
Well, Rob, you follow and help broadcast the Crest Charger games. Do you feel like Crest is on point? They're where they need to be after 2 games in the season?
I tell you, Sam, I like what Coach Barnes had to say about that. He said the key for us is just to get better every week. And that's, to me, that's a scary notion, especially on the defensive side of the ball. It's really maybe some of the best talent across the board I've seen at Crest there. But again, I think a lot of great press for you right now. You come out, you're number 1 in the AP poll. You've climbed to the top of a lot of the power polls that people have. But if you're Coach Barnes, the key is going to be to keep these kids grounded. And it's like he talked about. Remember, this team last year was losing RS Central at halftime. This team was tied with East Rutherford last year at halftime. So these kids have to realize, hey, there's still a lot of things we can work on, but let's make sure from game 1 to game 15 or 16, we've gotten better each game. And if they can do that, then I think absolutely they have a shot at a state title.
Well, thanks a lot. I appreciate that. And I really think Crest has an opportunity, and that's all you can ask for, because we've seen in the past the South Points and some of these teams that have been undefeated and looked unconquerable going into the playoffs, and then second, third, fourth round, they slip up.
Right, and that's the key. And I think people have to remember they're not called, they're called special seasons for a reason.
Right.
And to take that championship home, to have that special season, they don't happen for everybody. And even when you're extremely talented, you've got to have you're going to come to that game where you got to have a little bit of luck.
Absolutely.
It happens to everybody. So if you're going to have to find that as well. So I think the Chargers use this week, get refocused on themselves, get ready to get in the conference play next week against Drone and all those things. And, guys, before I let you go, I want to say one thing before I let you go.
All right.
And I've been talking to some fans, and Sam, I know you have too. I want the Burns people to hang in there.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Give your head coach a chance. Let him go in and do his job. I'm friends with a lot of people that have ties with Burns, and let him go up there and do his chance. Guys, let's be honest. I know we hear the transfer talk. There's a couple kids at Crest that played at Burns, but that happens every year.
Right.
You see it across the board. But they lost a lot of talent last year.
Yes.
You start looking from player A to player B, and you're like, well, any team loses that much talent, they're going to struggle.
Right.
So hang in there, folks. Stay with your coach. Just support those young men. The kids you've got are the kids that are going to play, and they're going to play for you as hard as they can. So be out there tonight. Support them against Freedom. Hey, maybe you pull an upset. This Freedom team's awfully good this year. They got a lot of good athletes, but the Bulldogs can go out there. They're going to play hard, and I just encourage the folks to just hang with your coach and get him through this season and see what happens down the road.
All right. Well, Rob, thank you so much for your call, and that's exactly on point. The advice that the Burns fans need is give Coach Cincinnati an opportunity to put this together. And
Sam, it's an honor to talk to you. No one don't get to talk to you. You don't get to hear you because we're setting up equipment, getting ready for the Crest games. But I was listening to you. I want to give you a call and you guys keep doing a great job.
Well, thank you, Rob. We really appreciate it. Thanks for
Talk to you
calling.
later.
Rob Roop, on the broadcast team with Andy Foster and Tim Foster for Chris Chargers. And Terry, what you got?
Yeah, as he's mentioned this, and a lot of people, and here's your hearsay from outside. A lot of people have looked at their schedule, and don't get me wrong, I'm a number one fan of Crest because of when I look at them, and then when we talked about this before the season started, when you're in black and white, then you got to prove it on the field, and Crest is starting to prove it. But a lot of people look at this schedule and they'll say, okay, I mean, you go on.
Mr. Steve Roberts, thank you.
You go on the road, you play Drone. You go to Chase, you go to Eastburg, you go to Burns. Okay, everybody's saying, so where's the competition? They say everybody that Crest has to play, they play them at home. So, a lot of people are looking at that.
Right, but Crest opens up the season with perennial power. South Point, always good. Ashbrook, and close with Shelby, and usually a very good Burns team. So the games are on the schedule, but this year, so far, half of the teams that
half of your elite teams, you tend to play them at home.
Right.
And that's a big thing. But, when you go around, and you know as well as I do, Sam, you hear different people saying a lot of different things.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're going to take a quick break here on Witherspoon Insurance Pregame Show. Sam Davis, Terry Reinhardt. We'll be right back with the last segment.
Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price with names like the Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General Insurance, and Travelers. Drop by their office at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986. Old Man Winter is just around the corner. It's time to fill up your tank with home heating oil or kerosene from Energy Direct in Shelby. They promise to beat anybody's price. Check with Energy Direct in Shelby before you fill her up for the winter. Just give them a call at 704-482-0351. Again, that's 704-482-0351. They will beat anybody's price on home heating oil or kerosene, and that's guaranteed. Energy Direct. Now in the new offices at 413 South Lafayette Street, Shelby.
They've got it at Factory Mattress Sales in Lincoln. Julie has it. Mark has it. Joseph has it. And oh, yeah, you better believe Bobby has it. What is it? It is GCS. Great customer service. Come in for your free dose of GCS. Great customer service. But GCS is not all Julie, Mark, Joseph, and Bobby have. They have the best selection, quality, and prices on mattress sets, from Tempur-Pedic to Sealy and more. Bedroom furniture, recliners, sofas, and more, all brought to you with GCS. Great customer service. Come in. You don't even have to ask for your GCS. GCS will meet you at the door. Factory Mattress Sales, Dave Warlick Drive in Lincoln.
Before you plan your vacation, plan a visit to Country Camping Corner on Oak Grove Road between Shelby and Kings Mountain. Whether you're heading to the beach or to the mountains, Country Camping Corner has the right recreational vehicle for you. Campers, pop-ups, fifth wheels, all you need for your next vacation experience. Country Camping Corner at the Oak Grove Road Highway 74 bypass intersection between Shelby and Kings Mountain. Open Tuesday through Friday, 8:30 to 5:30. Saturdays, 8:30 to 4. That's Country Camping Corner, Oak Grove Road, Kings Mountain. Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price with names like the Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General Insurance, and Travelers. Drop by their office at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986.
Yes.
And welcome back to the KTC Broadcasting Witherspoon Insurance Pregame Show. Thanks a lot for joining us tonight as we're breaking down tonight's games. We would need to tell you about something special.
Yes. I'm going to tell you what. If you need good food, tonight is the night to get over to Parkway House over here in Cherryville. 704-769-8055. If you can't get there, call it in. They'll have it ready for you when you arrive. But if you can sit down in their place to sit, I'm going to tell you, you'll love it. I've been there for breakfast. You can't beat the breakfast. It's on top of the line. And in the evening, they got fish, they got steaks, they got ribs, they got all kind of stuff that me and you would just enjoy.
Absolutely. And it's 6:35 now, so you've got time to get your order called in, pick up the food on the way to the game. A lot of folks we know going to the Cherryville game tonight. West Lincoln, there's a lot of teams in the area that you guys are going to be fanning out and go to. So give the Parkway House Family Restaurant a call at 704-769-8055. They're open Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. and Saturdays and Sundays they open at 7, and I guess they close when people quit eating. So
exactly.
Give them a call. And I will say this. Last week was my first exposure to the Parkway House. Best dog I've had in a while. Hot dog, chili mustard, and onions, and I ordered another one tonight. I liked it so well.
I'll tell you what, then on the 2 weeks so far that I've been here, which I've ate a lot of breakfasts over there, but the last 2 weeks I daggone got their calabash shrimp, fantastic. Last week, flounder fillet, great. You cannot beat it.
Parkway House Family Restaurant, thanks a lot for providing food for the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show. And folks, stop by there and tell them, hey, tell them you appreciate them supporting the show and support them. All right, let's get on to our segment 3. We've still got a couple games left to kind of cover over. And by the way, if you are a Crest fan, stick around because we're not sending you to the Crest pregame show because Crest has an open date tonight. So all you Crest folks get the lovely pleasure of enjoying Terry Reinhardt and Sam Davis for 30, count them, 30 additional minutes.
I got a good feeling they'll beat the open date.
They will enter next week undefeated, I'm
going
sure.
to tell you what, I've got them on my winning side.
Stuart Kramer has an open date also, but there's no guarantees they'll not lose this week. But those boys are trying hard. Bless their hearts. All right.
I'm going to mention one thing. Speaking of open dates, Crest 2-0. They're open this week. Maiden 2-0 open. St. Stephen's, Watauga, Stuart Kramer, we mentioned them. They're open. East Gaston's open this week also.
All right. So for some schools, looking forward to the open date to heal a little bit and prepare for your next game. And other schools, it kind of breaks the momentum. So we'll see how those turn out for those open dates tonight, how they do next week. Hickory travels to Newton Conover to take on Matt Beam's newly invented Newton Conover Red Devils. Hickory comes in 0-2. Newton Conover, are they good, Terry?
I'm going to say they're pretty good.
All right.
They've outscored their opponents 68-0.
That's pretty strong.
That's pretty strong. You know, a lot of people says, well, they played Chase. But then Chase bounced back last week and beat R.J. Reynolds.
Right.
You know, they played Lexington. Well, nobody around here knows how good Lexington is. You know, so I'm with that. Is Matt Beam a good teacher? A good coach?
He's won everywhere he's won.
Exactly. He's won at North Lincoln. He's won at Burns. Now he's over here at Newton doing the same thing. This series has been going on for a long time. Hickory leads the all-time series 47-22-2. Hickory is 3-7 at Conover the last 10 trips. So is this a game for Matt to go 3-0 and his squad? They are the number 10 2A team in the state of North Carolina.
They cracked the top 10 2A poll this week in the Associated Press poll. So I think I have to agree with you. Newton Conover is on the rise, much like Lincolnton. Matt Beam will take an average team and turn them into winners. And he's apparently doing that with a Newton Conover team that was, 2-9 last year? They were pretty bad. Yeah.
I mean, they've already got as many wins they did last year. Quarterback Cameron Stanley is their quarterback. He's senior quarterback. He's leading the way. And when you speak to Matt, he's got a lot of other athletes that was not playing, especially basketball-wise. Some of them have made the trip out and are really helping him on his spread offense.
All right. Well, Matt Beam, good luck tonight against Hickory team. North Gaston over at Lincolnton. We briefly touched on that. I feel like Lincolnton should win that game handily. Chase travels to Bandy's. Chase, which team's going to show up? The one that lost to Newton Conover or the one that beat R.J. Reynolds?
That's a good question. Bandy's trying to go 3-0. It's been a while since they have been 3-0. Trying to get Lohman. Coach Lohman's trying to put his squad back on the map. This is a game to me that I got Bandy's winning by 10.
All right. Well, we'll find out if Chase has made the improvement or if Bandy's continues their unbeaten ways. Bessemer City travels over to Hunter Huss. Yeah, most years you would think Huss will pound them, but this year Bessemer City, not terrible. Hunter Huss, new coach. They've got beat pretty badly the last 2 weeks. How do you see this game?
Hunter Huss leads this series 10-2. They've won the last 4. They have outscored Bessemer City in these last 4 games, 187-14. Will that happen tonight? That would be something I put on my board.
Wow.
I would be like, look here, Bessemer City. This is what happened to us the last 4 times we've played this squad. You know, they're not as good as we can see on paper and them playing that 0-2. So let's go out and pull off a win for Bessemer City. Is this a tall order? Yes, it is. I mean, you got a 1A plan, you know. So, but for Bessemer City, I think they'll be in the game. I've got Hunter Huss winning by 4.
All right. Well, Hunter Huss coming off losses to Kings Mountain and pounded last week by Vance, but
Yes.
Vance, one of those
Vance,
4A Charlotte
yes.
teams. So even though they got beat 53-7 there, that's really a hard to take that game into account. But should be another game that could be very competitive. But the new coach at Hunter Huss, he's just trying to get his ship going in his direction. And
well, Coach Rob was talking about, I mean, you know, the announcer, but he was talking about, he said, you got to give coaches time, and you have to. A new coach coming in, when they make changes, you got to give them time.
all right, and before we get into the last little part of the show, we've got a caller. Hello, caller.
Hey, Sam, this is Steven.
Stephen
Walker.
Stephen Walker. We've got our Burns guy calling in. Stephen, thank you so much for taking time tonight from your ceremonies to give us a call about Burns. Stephen Walker is very close to the Burns program, does a lot of their video and technical stuff. Stephen, how's the crowd looking about an hour before kickoff?
It's starting to fill in pretty good now. Normal capacity for this early. Normally everybody tries to come in right around 7, and then it backs up pretty good and bottlenecks pretty good. But it looks like we're gonna have a good crowd on hand tonight.
Well, Stephen, you guys are coming off a 23-0 loss against Newton Conover, and then last week was an off week. I know the big concern with Burns so far has been the offensive line. You have a ability, I believe, to get out to see some practice. Do you feel like the offensive line is making progress?
Yes, they are. With it being a new offense, there's still kids at the end of the day. You know, they got a learning curve and they got to learn something new. But we actually did see improvement in some areas. You know, it's just they've just got to let it start clicking. And I really believe, once it starts clicking for them and they really start getting more practice and more, reps in, that we're going to come together and be a good, good team. I really do. I think by the end of the season we might be able to make some really good noise.
Awesome.
Well, I know as you go into this game, and after that 23-0 loss to Ashbrook.
Oh, Ashbrook.
A couple of weeks ago, Freedom, they've been taking out their starters by halftime. How do you think that's going to happen tonight? I know Burns, everybody right now saying, well, Burns is down. A lot of people's talking stuff. But I think Burns should be okay with this game, but Freedom was very good.
They are a very good football team. I actually remember their quarterback last year. I want to say he was a junior last year, Titus Smith, and he had impressed me because for him to just be his first year at varsity, after Helms had left, he was a really tough kid. They're not afraid of contact at all. And then, of course, B.J. Emmons, you don't really have to say anything about him. It's been said for the last 2 weeks on what he's produced for them. I know they played, teams like East Burke-and-Drawn who, are still kind of in rebuilding processes. But, our defense has been what's been ahead for us right now. And I strongly feel like, that'd be what helps us win this game tonight if our offense can start moving the ball pretty well and, and get in the end zone. It's a work in progress, but I do feel like we'll do a little better tonight. If the offense can just move the ball, I think our defense will hold up just fine. They've been put in pretty bad situations at times and still held on pretty well, too. So, the defense continues to get better and the offense starts clicking. I feel like we can give Freedom a game tonight. But, it's not up to me. It's up to him.
That's true. And, Stephen, your sophomore quarterback, Cameron Barbie, his first real true action 2 weeks ago. Had that deer in the headlights look, but poor guy, honestly, the offensive line, he didn't have time to take 2 steps before he had 2 guys on him. If they can shore up the offensive line blocking, I feel like this kid's going to be something special before he leaves Burns. He's got some tools. He's quick. He's tall, 6'2" probably. Got a decent arm, and you have athletes. If your defense, I feel like, can just keep you guys in the game, you're going to have a shot tonight.
Well, I believe the same thing, and a lot of people noticed, in the second half when we spread it out a little more, he was much more comfortable in the pocket, especially, and he started his throws were just spot on. I mean, he had a great night throwing overall, considering everything that he had went through. I thought he played well. If the offensive line gives him time, he can throw the ball, and he's got a beautiful arm. I mean, he threw a touchdown pass that got called back that you can't write it up any better. But I feel like if they give him time, he develops as a young kid in a very big position for him for his age. I feel like at the end of the year we can come together and really make some noise. It just takes time. I mean, the main thing right now for us and the fans and everybody, just have patience, and give this team a little bit of time, and I think we'll be doing good.
All right, well, that's the key. The fans and everybody has to give Coach Simpson and this young team an opportunity to come together, gel, and learn and grow. So, Stephen, good luck tonight. We know you'll be honoring Will Beaver also tonight. Good luck with that. Will Beaver, a big loss to the Burns community last year.
Yes, sir.
And many thanks to you for all the time you spend with the Burns program. And I know you're like me. You're really an unpaid volunteer, and you do it for the love of the game.
Absolutely. I appreciate y'all allowing me to call, and we'll see what happens tonight. But win or lose, I'm here with my dogs. Ain't no doubt about that.
Well, we hope to hear from you next week. You can call us up, tell us about the Chase game, and how about that big win against Freedom.
I sure hope so.
All right. Thank you, Stephen Walker with Burns High School. And Steve Roberts, our in-studio engineer, tells us we have another phone call. And hello, caller. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. David Keever here at North Lincoln.
David.
How's everybody?
David, we're doing fine. I'm so excited that you called. To me, that's the game of the week right there, the East Lincoln-North Lincoln game. Tell us what your feelings are.
Pretty big matchup down here tonight, and the crowd that is filing in right now, I'm out in the middle of the crowd. The crowd that's filing in tonight is proof that this is a big game. Anytime these two hook up, it's a big game, but this year, maybe the first that I recall in quite some time that they're both undefeated. Both 2-0 coming into this game tonight, but even with them both 2-0, Sam and Terry, East Lincoln's still a heavy favorite here tonight in everybody's mind.
Well, North Lincoln, probably the last time they were this competitive was when Matt Beam was there. He had built that program up. Then the program took a few steps backwards. East Lincoln, I mean, honestly, last year, I truly felt like East Lincoln was going to win a state title. Are you expecting a shootout tonight?
2 years ago, a state title, and last year they made a good run.
Are you expecting tonight to be a shootout?
Well, if it gets into a shootout, I think North Lincoln has no chance. To me, North Lincoln's going to have a ground control, clock control, run the ball, keep it in between the lines, get first downs, and move that clock, and keep that ball out of Mr. Chad Surratt's hands as much as possible. If it turns into a high-scoring shootout, I think East Lincoln has a major advantage because they have more big play ability than North Lincoln does. North Lincoln's advantage is their offensive line. Their offensive line is very good, and their defensive line is very good. So I know right now they would like to play. They'd like to play those 12-minute quarters in about 13 minutes. They'd like to see that clock go by in a hurry.
Well, I know, David, as you're down there now and you're getting ready to do the game, everybody is expecting North Lincoln to ground the ball out, move it down the field, just like they did against Lincoln, and keep Lincoln's offense off that field. And you're like me, if you keep Chad Surratt off the field, you're going to have a chance to win. And, they proved that in Game 1 when they played Lincoln.
They run a very, very nice misdirection offense, a lot of counter plays, good ball fakes. The running backs go through with the fakes real well. You can't tell who's got the ball. They hide it real well. And they've been able to move the ball up and down the field very good because of it. I have not seen East Lincoln yet, but I'm hearing one of the weaknesses of East Lincoln might be their defensive line, and that will be a test tonight. If North Lincoln can keep the ball and just keep getting first downs and moving the ball down the field, running the clock, they have a chance. If they turn it over, give East Lincoln the ball, and let Chad Surratt do what he can do, then it could be a long night.
Well, I think it's obvious they've got to limit Chad Surratt's possessions, and the running back Jackson for North Lincoln has got to have a good game.
Yes, he does. Jackson, and they got a couple other wing backs that are pretty good too. And then they have to play very well defensively too, guys. They've got to. You can't stop Chad Surratt, but you got to do what you can to contain him and limit some of his numbers that he can put up, especially his rushing numbers. You got to try and contain him in the pocket and not let him outside and just beat you with big runs.
Well, East Lincoln travels over to North Lincoln tonight. David Keever and
Rick Mitchum
will have all the action on WLON 1050 AM and KTCBroadcasting.com. David, good luck tonight. Hope you have a great game to watch, and we'll look forward to hearing you guys bring it to us.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, David. All right, we're going to take one quick break before we finish up the show, so stick around. Witherspoon Insurance Pregame Show.
Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price with names like the Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General Insurance, and Travelers. Drop by their office at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986.
It's the 24th Annual Bellwood Antique Tractor and Engine Festival this weekend, September 4th, 5th, and 6th at the Old Bellwood School on Highway 18 north to Carpenter's Church Road. The Lawnmower Pull will be Friday at 7 p.m., the Antique Tractor Pull Thursday and Saturday nights, Parade Saturday at 1 p.m., and the Kids Tractor Pull Saturday at 3 p.m., plus food, crafts, a cider mill, hundreds of tractors on exhibit. Admission is $5 with proceeds going to the Bellwood Heritage Museum. September 4th, 5th, and 6th at the Old Bellwood School off Highway 18 North.
Hey, insurance companies that want to spend $1 gazillion on funny TV ads can go right ahead, as long as it's not my money paying for it. For seriously good auto, home, business, or life insurance, I go to Erie Insurance, where a great price is just the start. You get unbelievable service, independent agents you can really trust, and superior products. But don't just take it from me. Talk to your local Erie agent.
Your Erie agent in Lincolnton is Turner Hauser Insurance. Call 704-732-9577.
Do you want a bank that is committed to bringing you the best products and services and you still know your banker's name? At First Federal, you're able to make cash or check deposits at our ATMs anytime. No envelopes, no deposit slips, no hassle. You could also stop in and see a teller who would be more than happy to help you. Here at First Federal, we are committed to providing you professional and quality service that you deserve. Come by any of our convenient locations, Denver, Boger City, and Lincoln, and our newest location in West Lincoln, and find out what we can do for you. First Federal Savings Bank, member FDIC, and equal housing lender. It's the 50th anniversary celebration this Friday and Saturday, September 5th and 6th at St. Ace Hardware in Lincoln. On Friday, see the South Atlantic Association Timber Sports Competition. And on Saturday, some great 50th anniversary specials, including select models of Georgia boots, $50 off. All Ariat footwear, $50 off. All in-stock Carhartt clothing, half price. Nutrina feed, $5 a bag, plus a lot more. This Friday and Saturday, St. Ace Hardware, Highway 27, 150 West intersection, Lincoln. Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price with names like the Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General Insurance, and Travelers. Drop by their office at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986.
And don't forget Witherspoon Insurance. Stop by and say hey to Wayne and Justin and all the crowd at Witherspoon Insurance. All right, before we finish up tonight, we've got a few minutes left. We want to remind you to stop by the Parkway House Family Restaurant here located in Cherryville. Terry, what's the phone number there so they can do a call-in order?
That's it, 704-769-8055. One more time if you're writing it down. That way you can get it, 704-769-8055.
And we want to thank those folks for being the provider of our pregame meal here on Witherspoon Insurance Pregame Show. Thank you very much, Parkway House. Great food, hamburgers, hot dogs, steak, ribs, chicken salad, breakfast, great breakfast, Terry says.
It's
a great
good
place to eat, and just be sure to stop by and give them a try. And let's see, tonight's KTC broadcasting schedule. We'll go through this one more time before we break away. On the video end of the spectrum, Gaston County Game of the Week. Kings Mountain travels over to Forest View. Derek Smith and Daniel Howe will bring you all that action. The Lincoln County Game of the Week is on ktcbroadcasting.com and WLON 1050 AM in Lincoln. North Lincoln travels to East Lincoln. Did I get it right that time?
I think you did.
Okay. Announcers who we just heard from, David Keever and Rick Mitchum.
You did say that East Lincoln goes to North Lincoln.
Did I say that? No, I said North Lincoln goes to East Lincoln. Did I get it wrong again?
Again.
God almighty, that's every time. Every single time
East
I've done it, I've done it
travels
wrong.
to North Lincoln, so don't head down 73.
Don't go to East Lincoln. Go to North Lincoln. If you go to East Lincoln and you're looking for a game, I'm sorry.
That's
all right. Also on ktcbroadcasting.com, South Point travels to Shelby. We really haven't talked much about that game, but it's a big game. South Point 0-2 travels over to take on a 2-0 Shelby team. You've got the grounded out Red Bone running team against the Shelby High Golden Lions, Air Shelby, Air George, and also Shelby trying to establish their running game with Chad Reed running back, and they've got to always have a host of good running backs. Brent Pasco and Jeff Jones will bring you all the action for that game. On ktcbroadcasting.com, Freedom comes into Burns, undefeated, 2-0, taking on an 0-1 Burns team. The announcers, our own Calvin Hastings and the legendary Dan Greer will bring you all that action. Crest is open tonight, so they do not have a game. And, Terry, what's the radio schedule?
That's right, on the radio, WCSL 1590, West Lincoln at Cherville, announcers Milton Baker and Danny Aker. On WOHS 1390, South Point at Shelby, Brent Pasco, Jeff Jones. And on WLON 1050, it's North Lincoln at East Lincoln, David Keever and Rick Mitchum.
And don't forget the Ronaldo Auto Mall post-game show brought to you tonight immediately following the first game that ends on KTC Broadcasting. Dennis Davis, Tom Centofanti, Lewis Carpenter, and our own Terry Reinhart will bring you all the scores, recaps, interviews, phone calls, and expert analysis, and general silliness.
That's right. And don't forget Papa John's.
And don't forget Papa John's for providing the post-game meal. Papa John's here in Cherville.
Yes.
Awesome pizza. Awesome. Don't know any other way to say it. Great job by those folks at Papa John's, and we really appreciate them providing the post-game meal.
One other game for us to talk about before we leave. It's Concord First Assembly travels down to Highland Tech. Concord First Assembly comes in here 0-2. Highland Tech 0-1. Highland Tech leads this series 2-1. First Assembly has been outscored this year 97-14. This could be the game that Highland Tech wins.
Highland Tech could break into the win column. My clock says 6:57 here on the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show. Baby, crank it up. We're heading home. Want to thank you for joining us. Terry Reinhart, Sam Davis, engineer Steve Roberts, and Josh Collins for taking care of everything else. Thank you, folks. Have a great night. Enjoy the games.
Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price with names like the Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General Insurance, and Travelers. Drop by their office at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986. 0% financing. That's right, 0% financing on the new Ferris mowers and the new Bobcat mowers from Hojo Power Sports and Equipment in Shelby. Hurry in now. Remember, your grass never sleeps. See the full line of famous Ferris and Bobcat mowers now on sale with 0% financing. Come on in for all the details on how you can own your new Bobcat or Ferris mower from Hojo Power Sports and Equipment, 110 Grigg Street off South Lafayette Street in Shelby.
Hi, this is Alan Jackson, and you're listening to great country music.
This is AM 1390 WOHS in Shelby. It's time now for Shelby High School football with the caller of tonight's game, Brent Pasco and Coach Jeff Jones. Good evening, gentlemen. How are y'all?
Thank you, Steve. We're doing just great here at Shelby High. We got great weather for tonight's game here against South Point in this non-conference Week 3 battle before conference play starts next week. So Jeff and I are here and looking to see Shelby try to go 3-0 tonight. And in a weird series of events, South Point could actually, with a loss tonight, start 0-3 for the first time in many a season, I would assume.
And that makes South Point a especially dangerous foe tonight because the players see the scores, players see the statistics, and South Point is off to a rough start, and Shelby is off to a really good start. And so if Shelby plays the best game that they can tonight, they should be able to handle South Point. But that's the problem when you're talking about 16, 17, in some cases 15-year-old young men. Sometimes they just don't play their best game every time. And so South Point is a very dangerous foe who is really just chomping at the bit. And they could think of a thing that they would enjoy more than have a big victory against Shelby High School tonight.
Yeah, they're coming in after consecutive losses to Crest and Lincolnton. And, of course, Crest comes in this week ranked number 1 in the state 3A AP poll. So that's not a bad loss for South Point other than the way they lost that game, getting behind by 35 points and losing 35-13. And then last week, a tough Lincolnton team that had a 14-13 lead. South Point goes for a 2-point conversion there with under 2 minutes left, trying to pull out the victory, did not convert, and the result was a 14-13 loss to Lincolnton.
So having said all that, the Golden Lions better bring their A game tonight, because one thing about the South Point Red Raiders, they're not going to surprise you. They're going to come out and they're going to run the triple option, and when you play defense against a triple option team, you have got to be very assignment oriented, and their fullback, number 32, has got almost 250, 260 yards, and he's had a very, very good 2 games. He's the number one offensive weapon for them right now. His name's Rylan Etherton, and he's done a great job. And they've also got the quarterback, number 5, Jaquan Brooks. He is a very dangerous runner, and got to watch film on the first 2 games that they played, and there have been about 4 times that he has been 1 tackle away from going a long distance. So Gold Lions are going to have to play really good assignment football tonight to slow down and stop this red bone triple option attack.
Of course, Brooks started last year at quarterback against Shelby, and Ben Wasserman, looking down here, 7 carries for 23 yards on the season. I believe last year he had a couple of long touchdown runs against that Shelby team late in the game that allowed South Point to come back and pull a victory out when Shelby had that game in hand. And one of those defenders Shelby High that night is stepped into the booth with us here. Adam Weber, who's redshirting this season, I believe, up at Morris Hill, has made the trek down to Shelby. He told him to come up in the booth, so maybe we can get him on a little bit later and see what he's up to and get a prediction from him on tonight's game. And, Coach, without Adam, Shelby's going to have some work to do on the defensive line to stop that Redbone offense, and it starts up front with those four guys.
Well, looking at the film of the first two games that South Point played, what happened is that the defensive linemen for both Crest and Lincolnton were able to win those battles at the line of scrimmage and made it very difficult for any type of big seams to open up. And what South Point does is they'll run a play. They may run it 16 times, and 15 times they may get 2-3 yards, and then the 16th time they may get 63 yards. And what both Lincolnton and Crest did was they kept the big play from hurting them. And so that's a